So now that you've made a router, we'll have a bit of a look at how to make a drill. Now, it's much the same as a router, so we're not going to go through every single option. We'll just highlight the ones that are very different to routers. In this lesson, we're going to copy one of our 10mm drill bits and we'll make a new 20mm one for cams. I'll start by selecting vertical drills here in my filter menu. And then I'll select my 10mm drill and select copy. You'll see the first general section looks much the same as it did before. The only thing to note is in most cases, tool number and height offset ID will not matter. So just make sure these are set to some unique number and don't clash with your routers either. Length is just the same as the work depth on our router. So just put in the length of the drill from the bottom of the holder to the bottom of the drill bit. Drill to shoulder and cone angle will then look at drill bits like this. As you can see, this drill bit has a cone on the end. We would advise S2M the angle of this cone, which we could easily find on the tool's packaging or the invoice. Drill to shoulder then tells S2M that if you have a 10mm deep hole, if the drill should drill to the 10mm deep exactly, or go past the 10mm to make sure that at 10mm deep, we're at the full width of the cut. The through option is to let S2M know if the drill bit can be used to drill through the part and into the spoil board. This is so S2M can select the right drill, much like the up and down shear properties with your routers. You'll then see this option for diameter tolerance. Setting this value means if you draw a hole within Cabinet Vision that is close to the size of that drill bit, it'll still be able to pick up this drill and do the operation. Short of having your drawings using imperial measurements and having metric drill bits set up, or vice versa, it's very unlikely you will ever need to use this setting. As you can see, the drill itself is much like the router, with just a few different options. The only other big difference is if you need to apply your new drill bit to the multi-head drill on your machine. Now, first of all, just because you have a multi-drill on the machine does not mean you have one in S2M. For certain machines, they will use their own programs when you run the job to work out their own drilling. Programs such as Biesi's B-Solid, Homag's Woodwop, and SCM's Zilog and Maestro. In these cases, S2M doesn't need a multi-drill information and just outputs the locations of each hole. In other cases, S2M will control the physical multi-drill itself. To check if your machine is using a multi-drill, select your machine catalog, select the multi-drill tab, and then check this drop down here. If it is set to none, then you don't need to worry about this next step. However, if you do have one of these set up, you'll be able to click the View button here. You'll then see an image of your multi-drill on the screen. By left-clicking and dragging a red box around one or more of the drills, you'll be able to select which drills you'd like to change. You can then click on the drop-down menu at the bottom and select the correct drill bit you would like to assign to those spaces. If you're a little unsure about which space it is, a good tip is to look for your 35mm drill and work out where that is on the machine and work back from that location. Once you've changed over your drill, click OK and you'll be able to close the machine catalog. So I've made a small little project for you, which just includes making a few tools based off some specs. Have a go at making them. However, make sure that if you do practice with these, or you've made any of the tools I've made throughout the lesson, make sure you mark them as unavailable at the top. You've made these tools up, they're probably not in your machine, so we want to make sure Cabinet Vision doesn't go and use them. So double check that they're made unavailable, and when you're finished, probably just delete them out. Once you're done with that, we'll jump in and have a look at some of the work we can do with our materials before we move on to nesting.